about rotting, festering piles of garbage. What? No. No, guys, I meant that literally. Today we're going to be talking about composting. Now, composting is one of those things that you know that you should do but think you probably never will, like changing your water filter or voting for Dianne Feinstein. But why should we compost? In short, to keep things out of landfills, because landfills, like Kanye's Twitter, get worse with time. Okay, so what makes landfills so bad? Well, it turns out when a bunch of shit is tossed together in enormous piles to rot, it causes pollution. Lots of it. Chemicals from landfills ruin the surrounding soil, they leak toxins into the water system, affecting both wildlife and people, and they pollute the air by releasing what scientists call a shit ton of methane gas. It's the biggest culprit in climate change, so... You know what, actually, due to recent EPA regulations, scientists aren't allowed to say methane gas anymore, so now it's called America Mist. I'm just kidding. You know what, I checked the EPA's website section on climate change to see what they have to say about it, but it's been down since April of 2017. You know, just to be safe, can we refresh that? Yeah, no, still nothing. And you know what, what's more, a lot of times landfills, like everyone at work, are not doing their jobs. As landfills get piled and piled on with plastic, food waste, and my applications to law schools, often the garbage inside is no longer exposed to oxygen and therefore cannot break down. To put that in context, garbologists, which, side note, that's the real job of a person who studies garbage, and not, as I had previously thought, fans of 1930s Swedish-American actress Greta Garbo. Garbologists have discovered foods thrown out decades ago that have not decomposed. One garbologist found a tub of guacamole thrown out in 1967 that was perfectly preserved. Guacamole, a food that goes bad immediately. And I thought the only thing perfectly preserved from the 60s was systematic racism. Now, it was also guac. Now, there's no end in sight to our production of garbage, so these piles of trash are just going to keep growing unless we start making some changes. But luckily, some changes are being made in Canada. Last month, Ontario announced that by 2022, it will ban organic materials, meaning things like food waste, coffee filters, and bodies, all of which are perfectly compostable, from being thrown out in the trash. And they'll supply the bins for the compost, just like we have for trash and for recycling ourselves. Composting will become a normal part of their trash throwing out experiences. Just makes me think I probably should have moved to Canada like I swore I would. Right now I'd be hosting, "Oh, sorry, it's the news with Maggie Smith, eh?" If you're watching this and you don't live in Canada, but composting is still something you're interested in, and you're not a serial killer, that's great news. But for those of you who are, I don't know, I guess I'll take it. So here's how you can start. Best case scenario, you have your own yard or garden, in which case you can just start a literal pile of compost wherever you want and watch it turn into soil richer than Greta Garbo in her heyday. Hashtag garbologists. And if you, like me, have forsaken green spaces and opted to live in a city to follow your dream of one day paying the most while living in the smallest amount of space, then use a composting service. I actually use one myself. It's called the Urban Canopy, which for a monthly fee delivers a bucket to me that they take away 2 weeks later after I filled it up with banana peels as revenge for what they did to me in Mario Kart. If you live in Chicago, please sign up for Urban Canopy using this link here. If you live in a different city, use this link. It will help you find compost pickup service based on your zip code. If you're interested in Greta Garbo, click this link. It takes you to sign up for the Urban Canopy. No matter what you click, remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, and remember to compost because landfills stink.